Recently, some of you have really shown your support for Raccoon Hill, the school that I have here in Mapastepec, Chiapas in Mexico. And I wanted to explain a little bit about how things work down here in Mexico insofar as the education. The education here is really, really bad. Now, I know oftentimes we think our education system is really bad in whatever country we're in. We often think that. But here it is really, really bad. I've now been part of an educational system in the United States, Australia, Cuba, Ecuador, and Mexico, in 5 different countries. And so far, the worst system I've seen has been here in Mexico. And I know why the system is so bad. It's not a mystery. I've been here now for 13 years, and I've been involved in education for most of the time that I've been here. Actually, I've been here for more than 13 years, and for 13 years I've been involved in education here. So it's something I'm in contact with on a daily basis, at least 6 days a week. And the reason why education is so bad here, in great part, is that the teachers' union in Mexico is extremely powerful. It's the most powerful union in Mexico. And while I personally agree that unions are sometimes amazing and do wonderful things, because workers are often underpaid and don't have rights and no benefits and such, in the case of the teachers' union in Mexico, they're so powerful and have been fighting for so long to always make things better for the teachers that they've forgotten about the students and they've forgotten about why they're teachers. It's simply a money-making machine. So, to put this into perspective, you can say, take an average salary in the United States. The average worker's salary, yearly salary, I don't know. I think it's like $34,000 a year, $33,000 a year. Well, the average wage in my town is about 150 pesos a day. Teachers make about, on average, 100 pesos an hour. So they're making about 800 pesos a day. So they're making 4 to 5 times what the average worker makes. So if the average worker is making $33,000 a year in the United States, in the States, that teacher would be making 4 to 5 times that amount. Over $100,000 a year. So if teacher salaries are over $100,000 a year, comparatively, in relation to those around them, as in the States, here, you can see why people would want to become teachers. They want to become teachers because they want to make a lot of money, not because they're interested in teaching. So people here, they finish college and they start looking for a job, and they often can't find a job, so they try to get a teaching position, because in all communities there are schools. So every community has a school, so it's one of the best paid jobs you could possibly get in Mexico. And these jobs are so sought after that people who are retiring will sell their positions. And they can sell their positions for over $20,000, which is a lot of money. But it will guarantee you an income for the rest of your life. Teachers never get fired. I have never heard of a teacher getting fired. The worst possible thing that could happen is you can be moved to another school, but they won't fire you. So it's a guaranteed position for the rest of your life. And as all official jobs in Mexico, you get your normal salary of, let's say, approximately 100 pesos per hour, 800 pesos a day, which I repeat is 4 to 5 times what the average person makes. But then in December, you also get an extra month's pay. You get your paid vacation in summer. You get your paid vacation for Easter, which they get 2 weeks for, and for Christmas, which they usually get 3 weeks for. So they get a lot of paid vacation, and they also get great maternity leave, which I think is a good thing, but yeah, they get a lot of maternity leave, which is good. But so they have lots of benefits in addition to this really, really good pay. So people are going into the teaching arena simply because they want to make money. They've never professed that they were interested in teaching. They've never professed that they wanted to be a teacher for the actual teaching part of it, just for the money. So that has resulted in Mexico having an education system which is just horrendous. Also, too, it's all based on memorization, very little creative thinking involved. They give massive amounts of homework because in the classrooms, not only are they receiving a really high salary, but they're oftentimes not teaching anything. To put it into perspective, again, most of the English teachers, because they do teach English here in middle school and high school, and so all students that graduate from high school in Mexico will have received about 5 years of English. It's usually 3 years in middle school and 2 years in high school. The last year of high school, for whatever reason, they don't normally get English, so they get 5 years of English. And the teachers, most of the teachers will not speak to me, the English teachers, in English, because they don't speak English. And they don't want other people to realize that they really don't speak English, so they'd just rather not talk to me in front of people, especially at school. In the street, they'll say hello because it's in Spanish, but in front of their classes, in front of their peers, they don't want to speak to me in English because they don't really speak English, which is really sad. And it's not only with English. I've realized now as I'm giving English, to just teach English can be boring, especially as many years go by. So I enjoy teaching other things in English once they speak enough English to learn other things. So we'll do geography, math, business administration, health, exercise, nutrition, many different subjects. And I've realized that even with math, many of them don't know their times tables, even when they're in high school. So I've had classes with seniors, and I'll ask them, 8 times 8, 9 times 7. They don't know their basic math, yet, supposedly, they're taking physics and calculus, which is impossible. They don't know the fundamentals of math, so there's no way that they truly understand it. But the country as a whole has implemented policies where you cannot fail. It's a no-fail system, or an almost no-fail system, where you can only fail 2 people in every classroom each year. So they'll take the worst of the failures and maybe eliminate them. So you can literally have a class where, with 40 students, which is a typical class size, also very large, 40 students, and 30 of them can be failing, but only 2 of them will actually fail the year because they're the worst 2 that have failed. So you could say most everybody is failing, but they're still passing. It's a terrible system, and it's not working. And children, young people, teenagers, are not getting the skills that they need to find work later on. And so at my school, I do the best I possibly can to teach these young people everything I possibly can about whatever it may be. And we often just go to whatever's the most important subject of the times. Whatever's the most important thing that I see that they don't understand is what I try to teach them. And as I repeat, some of you have been extremely supportive of the school recently, and I really appreciate that because we're really trying to do everything we possibly can to give them the best education. I really enjoy it. It's very fulfilling to see how they grow and how those that have spent a few years here at the school have really, really changed their lives. Because now we have students that are working in tourist centers here in Mexico, like Cancun, Los Cabos, Mazatlan, Playa del Carmen, where a lot of foreigners arrive and there's good paying work. And having learned English well enough to be able to converse with these people, they get good paying jobs. And they also start making friends with people from other countries and having opportunities to travel and really get out and see the world, which even changes their lives even more. So my objective over the long term here in Mexico is to not have this solely as an English school, but to create a school, just a general school, because the need is so great. I mean, it's just extraordinary to see when I ask my students, what did you do today in school? The answer is often they didn't even receive half of their classes. They're just sitting there in the classroom doing nothing. And again, it's teachers have no motivation to teach. And I don't say all teachers, but most teachers are not really motivated to teach. They have no incentive. They have their job, they know they can't lose it. They're not really interested in teaching anyway. So there's nothing they can do that will make them lose what they have. So they just will often do almost nothing. One of my English students told me that his English teacher came into the class the other day, and the only thing they did in the entire class was he said, open your notebooks, write the date in English, and that was it. It's a 45-minute class. That was the only thing they did, was write the date in English once. Not 10 dates, not 20 dates. Just had to write today's date, whatever it may have been, you know, February 10th, 2020, at the top of the notebook. And that's very typical. Sometimes they do even less. So you have whole generations now of young people spending their days at school doing almost nothing. It's really like unbelievable until you see it. Like, just blows my mind. Like, even when I'm telling you, it's almost like, is this really true? But yes, it is true, unfortunately. And it's very sad. So, you know, many of my students who did not finish English, who did not continue, they're now working at very, very basic jobs. I mean, really bad paying, basic jobs, because they never acquired a skill set of any kind, even outside of English, in whatever. No skill sets. Minimal math skills, very minimal math skills, sometimes like no math skills. I went to a middle school this week and was doing advertising, shall we say, for the English school here. And I went to each of the classrooms and was talking to the groups. And I told them, I said, you can make 5,000 pesos a month when you finish high school, on average, without speaking English. Or if you speak English, working here in Mexico, you can make 15,000. So what's the difference in how much you can make between 5 and 15? And there was really like a thought process going on there. It took them a while to figure out it was 10,000, 15 minus 5, which is really astounding to think, okay, if you can't make that calculation, then how many calculations can't you make? I mean, there's so many things that you really just can't do. So here, we're working on that continuously, really trying to give them the knowledge that they truly, truly need to make their lives so much better. There's a lot of room for improvement, and that's like the main reason why I'm in Mexico, because while I do enjoy the green areas of Chiapas, being close to the mountains and the rivers and the great waterfalls, and the community is really good as a community. There's incredible, you know, bonding here between people, and you can really rely on people, great families and such. But there's that one really truly motivating factor that really keeps me here, and that is to help these young people acquire the skills that they desperately need to live a little better. Not just a little better, but actually they live a lot better once they've finished their studies here. A lot better. So I thank you for your support. Some of you have visited our website. It's www.raccoon-hill.com. So it's raccoon-hill.com. If you leave out the dash, it'd be a golf course. raccoon-hill.com. And we have information about the school there and our project, what we're doing. So, yeah, there's some of you I've met traveling across the United States on the motorcycle, which is an amazing trip. And some of you are just amazing people, truly spectacular. That trip was much more than I ever expected. And now I'm back here giving classes. I'll be going back to the States again this year for a while, again to make some money and to continue with to make some money in dollars and to continue with the project down here and try to expand it. But I'll have other people teaching while I'm gone, and trying to create like a small cadre of people that can continue to operate the school whenever I have to leave, and always trying to better the education down here. Thanks.